Hi, I'm Martin, and I have a big problem. This is the pile. As you can see, I buy way too many anime models, and I gotta get these guys out of their boxes. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna open all these boxes just for you. Welcome to Cate Frenzy. Hello everybody, thank you for watching the first episode of Cate Frenzy. I'm glad you guys all enjoyed it. Today we have a very special model. It's going to be Sheryl Nome from Across Frontier, and it's a doozy. Alright, so the box comes in the traditional Ami box. It's a very large box because this figure is a 1/7 scale, so the box is humongous. The Ami box is pretty normal. It's got Ami on the side, it's got some information about caution stuff on the sides as well. So, let's get the box open. Unlike the first episode, you can actually see me because the box is really tiny. So I mostly buy from Ami because their boxes are usually well protected and they come with a little treat. So this year's Ami box comes with New Year's 2021, yay! So every time you buy a box from Ami, they give you one of these. These pictures change depending on what year it is and what season it is and all sorts of different things. There's lots and lots of packaging, very good. It's in another box. Box looks pretty well protected, no dents. I'm always really careful when I'm doing this because I don't want to accidentally cut into the model itself. So when you're cutting these tapes open, always be very careful because you might cut into your own box and you don't want that to happen because that would fucking suck. Yeah. Oh yeah, best way to do this, upside down. Alright, so it had tissue paper, it had tape, it had a second box, and it also has more tissue paper across the box itself to protect the box. So overall packaging is really good. Wow. It's such a clean box. So this box is really pretty. It's white with purple and pink. It has lots of little stars all over it. And it's very elegant. There's lots of cursive writing over it. There's actually no pictures of the figure itself, which is interesting because most of the time, these boxes have pictures of the model you're getting so you know what you're buying. It has a very nice little Arabian lamp there. The lamp is to signify the fact that this version is based on Arabian style artwork. There's constellations on the side. What's on the bottom? What's on the bottom? Oh, there you go. The bottom has the pictures of her, which is really strange. Why isn't that on the front or the back? Okay, so the box is kind of plain. I think I'm going to give the box a 7 out of 10. It's not the greatest, and it's very bizarre that the picture of Sheryl is on the bottom rather than the back as most models will do it. Very strange decision. So we jumped the gun a little bit. I forgot to talk about the packaging inside the box. So bear with me. Let's get her open. So we have some tape on the edges, which I've already cut off, and we're going to get this guy open. Oh, she's humongous! I really could use an assistant. Yeah. Okay, we got her out of the box. Yay. Alright, so it does come with instructions. It's all in Japanese. Basically just tells you how to put the base together. You can kind of read Japanese, but not the best at it. It's okay though. We'll just figure it out. Okay, so the packaging is pretty solid. We have a lot of space in between the plastic. That's really good because that allows you a little safety. If the plastic was right up against the box, then we could have issues. But this actually allows it to add a little bit of cushioning around the box. Secured by these little snaps inside of here, which is super good. Oh, interesting. It's like oily on the inner side of the box. That's weird. Alright, so this box actually has wires holding it down too. Right there, you see them? Okay, I figured it out. You're supposed to take out the bottom layer first. So there's one layer underneath, second layer, there's the third layer, which is where the wire is. So this is very well protected inside. I'm going to update the packaging score. If it's hard to open, then the packaging is super duper good. Maybe they just wanted you to keep it inside the cardboard box the entire time and not ever open it. Okay, we got it out. Now, I do want to mention that attached to this plastic piece, there is a little piece of styrofoam here too, like the soft little packaging. And then Sheryl is protected with some plastic on top, which is really good. Oh, there's another layer. Oh. There's another wire. So there's actually a fourth piece of plastic, which covers Sheryl and her main body part, which is also very good. There's another wire. Oh my god. There's so many wires. This third layer also has a protective sheet of paper styrofoam as well. Sheryl has lots of individual pieces around her body. This is pretty bad for the landfill. I usually keep the plastics in case I have to transport her later. There's a piece of plastic on here too. I usually leave these on because it helps protect the base. So let's talk about some of the stats. This figure comes to us from Alpha Omega, which is a combination of Alter and Mega House, two giant powerhouse anime producers. She is 29 centimeters, which is very, very long. It's like the length of a ruler. Her design has PVC, ABS, and etching, which I'll explain later in the video. And the sculptor was Takashi Tobita with paintwork done by Nanami Tetsumori. This figure was announced back in 2019, so it took almost a year to get it out to the public. And it cost around $374 Canadian. That's a lot of money. So I'm going to talk about the sculpt now and the paint job simultaneously because they kind of go hand in hand with this figure. So sculpt wise, this figure is really impressive. It has a lot of folds throughout the fabric portion of the figure, and because of that, it has a really dynamic appeal to it. So you'll see here that there's tons and tons of folds throughout the back skirt as well as her headdress. The headdress actually kind of molds into from her hair, and that's really cool because it gives off this really unique kind of pattern to it, and it kind of makes it look like her hair becomes like this translucent jellyfish looking butterfly wing, and it gives the figure a lot of appeal when it comes to her sculpt. Sculpt wise, her body is pretty long. I think if she were to stand up, she would be comically large. She's done in such a way where it's like that whole clamp style anime thing where the heads are slightly taller than their body by like 4 times. But the thing is, that's okay because anime portions are all over the place. Personally, I don't think it really matters too much. I think a lot of people who do look at this model sculpt wise will see that when she bends at her rib cage to her stomach, it looks kind of obscenely long. So she might lose a point off that. For me, I don't enjoy super long figures, but they do look nice in sculpture form just because it makes your eye draw from one side to the other. Paint wise on the body itself, it's a really nice translucent peach, and there's all sorts of little miniature details on the jewelry. There are some really cool intricacies around this model, especially the designs on her foot with the amount of pattern work that was done on the metal. The tattoo on her leg, which is really quite impressive being so small. I think it's a decal, I can't really tell. The fingers also sport a similar look, and the jewelry is very impressive. It's a gold color, it's metallic and it's shiny, and it also reflects a lot in the light. And that would mean that this figure would look amazing in a showcase that's lit up. As for her face, Sheryl's got this kind of weird expression on her face. I know she's supposed to be kind of happy and kind of erotic, but it looks like she's happy, but also kind of drunk. This figure comes off very fairy-like because Sheryl is the galactic fairy of Macross, which means she's like the very ephemeral figure of that universe. Sheryl is a singer in that universe, and she comes off very fluent and otherworldly, and that shows in this figure. Now, when she was designed, it was for a music video, which was actually produced by Yoko Kanno, who a lot of anime fans know as one of the greatest composers of anime life. Yoko obviously did it as Robin Robinson because Yoko is weird and she likes to hide as weird different people. Obviously, if you're gonna be in a music video, you gotta be bright, elaborate, and look like you're made of thousands and thousands of dollars. I would also like to point to you the backside. The backside actually has this lamp. The lamp actually goes from the back to the front. When you think of lamp, you always think Aladdin because the genie, right? And she's holding the hookah in her palm. The cool thing about the thing in her palm is that the place where you blow out of, it's got this little pink clear piece on it, which actually matches the inside of her clothing. So design wise, that's very, very impressive because they could have just made it solid and not clear, but they took the extra effort to make that little piece clear. To me, that's a win because that shows you that they really care about design, because they could have just made it solid, they could have made it blue or white or whatever because you don't really see it. But the fact that they put that in there makes it really impressive. So that's an extra point for me. The paint job overall is really quite vibrant. It reminds me of springtime. This figure released in, well, it was supposed to release in January, but got pushed back to February. And I believe I got this just at the beginning of February, but I feel like this figure is a good one for spring. Whenever Japan releases figures, they always tend to release figures that are bright and airy like this toward the springtime, summertime, while dark figures and things that are a little bit more less whimsical looking usually appear during December, November. And I think just because aesthetic wise, they just fit better during different seasons. The paint job on this is really impressive with the translucent paint and the etching. I think the etching needs to be explained. So at the beginning of the review, I mentioned that her body was done via etching. I didn't know what etching meant, so I looked it up on Google. Take a piece of plastic or whatever product you're using, then you put like this kind of film on it that protects certain parts. You leave other parts untreated so that when UV light hits it, designs stay on the part. And I think that's what they did for the butterfly looking pattern that goes throughout the outfit. You can see it most prominent on the bottom of the outfit here, and also the wing that's way in the bottom here. You can really see it right throughout here, and I think that's what the etching was used for. It was used to get that really unique pattern onto her translucent outfit, because I think if they did it a different way where, you know, they covered the plastic and then they had the spray paint on the other patterning, it might have been a little bit more difficult. So it's pretty cool to see that. Overall, I think paint job wise, this is a very perfect 10. Simple but elaborate. I think that's the best way to put this. Overall for Sculpt, I'm gonna give this one a 9. It gets a 9 because of the weirdness between her chest and her rib cage. Like, your bones don't really, you could do it, but it's just be really uncomfortable. So appeal wise, this figure gets a 10 out of 10 just because it is such an elaborate figure, but it is so simple. Overall, this figure has a 92% rating. If you want to get a Sheryl figure, I do recommend getting them sooner. Sheryl is one of the most popular idol characters in Japan, and if you want a figure of her, get her sooner than later because these prices skyrocket very quickly. This was $300 some. By the end of the year, I'm pretty sure it'll be around $800 to $1,000. So if you want to get a Sheryl figure, get her as soon as you can. So that about wraps it up. If you haven't already, check out Season 2, Episode 1, which features my amazing Karis, who is like my pride and joy at this point. And if you haven't seen the other episodes, check out Season 1 of Cate Frenzy. It's not as elaborate as this episode, but it's still got some pretty cool models in there. And I guess I will see you guys next week.